Hey everyone, so great to see you again. It's Judy from Coffee, Cookies, and Books, and what we're going to do today is we're going to check in on my series challenge. All right, you guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to see how I'm doing on my series challenge. So technically with my series challenge, I was supposed to read by the end of the year 36 books that are continuations of series that I started before 2026. So my definition of a series, just so that you know, because there are some in here that are just 2 books. Well, actually, they're completed now, but I 2 books, so a duology, a trilogy, or 10 books is still a series to me. So anything that is a continuation of even like romance series are series, even if they're not necessarily the same couple in every book. So that's my definition of a series, just so that you are aware as we're going through this. So up to this point, as of the end of April, I read 14 books in total. Let me just double check. I'm going to do a quick count. I'm going to throw it up here so that you can see it. And you can also see the star ratings that I gave it because I have overlaid that on top. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, yes, 14. Now, the ones that are on the top is one for every month, okay? And what goes in there cannot be an identical book to a series that's already in that top portion. So that's the only real, I guess what you call super challenge of what I picked to read is that something's got to go in the top that is from a completely different series. So all 12 books have to be different series, which is not that difficult to do because you will see when we get to the second part of this that I have a lot of series. I've read quite a few, and I'm in kind of somewhere in the scope of those series. So that's kind of where we're at with that, and that's why there is a differentiation. So now for the month of May, I do have 3 more books that are on the list, and I've already read one of them. The other 2 are romances, which is Juniper Hill and The Right Move. So we'll discuss those when we talk about what's on the wheel coming up. Okay, so those ones are on the deck for May. They're going to get read. I already know that they're going to get read because I do map out kind of my days and how much I spend with each book. And then I pick based on a little bit of mood what books are going to fit in. So, and I've already mapped out that those ones are going to get read this month. So they will get read. Okay, so that's just kind of an update on where I'm at so far with it. I think I'm doing good. At this point, I mean, technically, by the end of May, I will be almost halfway through my requirements on what I have to read. So doing great for the whole year, really, if you think about it. It looks like I'm going to meet the challenge. And when you see what's coming up on my wheel, because that is what we're going to talk about next. Okay, we're going to talk about all of the series that I have on my wheel next. Then you're going to understand how it's going to be possible for me to easily fill this in and get some progress made on my series reads. And the likelihood is that I'm going to take this into 2027. I might structure it a little bit different, and it will be a new challenge because I want to make it interesting because I know there are other people that are following along with this. So I'm probably going to do something similar going into 2027. I just haven't decided what yet, but that's where we're at with it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to move on to what's on the series wheel. So now we're going to talk about what is now on my series wheel. I'll pop a little recording of it up for you. You can see it's quite full. There are a total of 37 books on my wheel as it stands right now. I don't know if that is the only books that I have that are series continuations. However, I know that I have started a couple of new series already this year, so they cannot go on there. As I said, it's only series that have started, that I started before 2026. So what is on there are books that I started them before. Okay, so, and they're in all different stages as things stand. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through it. Now, I do have the list, and I have kind of made myself some notes because there are some books that have already been pulled for June, and then there are some books that I have already put their next books on here that are from May. So that's kind of how I do it. Like, if I read it, then I go to the next one in the series and I pop the next one onto the wheel automatically. Okay, so it's like trying to keep it going all the time. And that's why I really do think that when I move into 2027, as I mentioned, that I'm probably going to take this with me, do it again, maybe do something different. And of course, I will then be adding on anything that I did start in 2026 is going to get added on. So it's going to be fun as we go through. So what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd quickly go through the books that I have that are on the wheel. Now, obviously, because these are series continuations, I can't read the synopsis on them. I can if it is a romance, because typically it's a different couple, but I'm not going to get too in depth with the synopsis because this is going to be, the video is going to be too long. It's going to be long. All my videos are long. All of them. I can't avoid it, but I want to try to get through this as quick as possible. Some of these books don't need any explanation. A lot of you will be fully aware of what they are, but I will just give a quick rundown of what they are, what series they're in, where they are in the series, how many books are in the series in total, so that it sounds like something you would be interested in, then you can go and have a look. Okay, so we're going to start with the first book on the list, which is A Court of Mist and Fury. This is the second book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas, and I read the first one at some point last year. So this one's a chunker. It did get picked on my TBR at one point this year already, but I didn't get to it. And it's just because it's too thick and I didn't prioritize it. However, if it comes up now on the wheel or again in my TBR cards in the Yahtzee game, then it will get read. So that's that one. And of course, because it's a continuation, I can't tell you any details about it, outside the fact that it is a fantasy romance and it involves fae, backstabbing, war, that kind of wonderful thing. Lots of romance. So anyway, the first book was okay. I have been told the second book is much better. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Okay, next one is The Drawing of the Three, which is the second book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I'm sure a lot of people know what and who he is. And I reread. Now, this series is one where the first three books, I think it's only the first three, that I read previously. So it is a total of 7 books. So I do want to read the entire series. So the first book was a reread, and I did that last year. Okay, so this is the second book continuing in the Dark Tower series, and I really do want to get to it. I think I have purchased the first 5 books. I think I only have 2 or 3 left to buy. So I think there's one in the middle that's technically part of the series, but not part of the flow of the series. So yeah, it's kind of a weird one. Anyways, I do want to continue. Very much looking forward to that one. I don't know if I said that was book 2. I think so. Anyways, it is a reread for me, this this one. So next one is The Accomplice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. So this is the third book in the Assistant and the Villain series. So I've read the first two. I read the first one last year. I read the second one this year already. And then this is the third one that's gone on the wheel. And this one, Accomplice to the Villain, is also on my Goodreads Choice Challenge that I created for myself from the Goodreads Choice Awards that came out at the end of 2025. So I do want to get it read because now it is technically on 2 of my challenges. So if it doesn't come up on the wheel, it is definitely going to come up in my choice challenges. So it's going to get read one way or the other. And then I do have the 4th book, I think, or maybe I don't have the 4th. No, I think the 4th one hasn't come out yet. The 4th one in that series, let's see. No, in August. It comes out in August. So I do have it on pre-order, though. Very much love the series. It is really fun. And the main character, Evie, she's a joy. And it is an enjoyable read. I have enjoyed the first 2 books. The second book I liked better than the first book. So maybe it's just, I think it was because I liked the characters more. But yeah, really love the series and can't wait to continue on with it. Okay, next one is The Curator, which is the 3rd book out of 8 in the Washington Poe series by M.W. Craven. This is a police procedural, and Washington Poe is your main detective, and it is based in England. So it is very, you're getting the British countryside and all that sort of thing. But the cases, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So I started the series last year. I read the second one this year, which was Black Summer. Absolutely loved that. So The Curator is the next one in the list, and I can't wait. And each case is unique, and he has this sidekick, Tilly, who she's a bit of a genius, but awkward, and she just basically has no filter, and their relationship is kind of comical at times, but fantastic series. Absolutely love it. And like the first 2 books were great. I think I gave the second one 5 stars. I loved it so much. Okay, next one is Finlay Donovan Rolls the Dice, and this is the 4th book out of 7 in the Finlay Donovan series. So the last one that I did read this year was Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun. It was my first read of the year, and it was a 5-star read. Love this series. Love it. Finlay Donovan is just a lot of fun. And it's like one of those series that is kind of almost a palate cleanser, You read it, it doesn't take a lot of brain power to get through it, and it just is so much fun. And that's why I like these books so much. So I can't wait to get on to this one. I think it's going to be fantastic. Okay, next one is City of Lies and Legends by Kayla Edwards. This is the 3rd book in the House of Devils series. So I just read the second book, was City of Souls and Sinners, I think was the second book. And I didn't like the second book. I loved the first book, did not like the second book. I think it was like 2 stars, 2.5, somewhere around there. So this is a ride or die for me, because right now there's only technically 4 books. There's supposed to be 7. If I do not like this book, I won't be continuing on with the series. So that's just where it's at for me. And House of Devils is a series that has everything in the paranormal world that you could think is in this book. So it's not just about fae. It's not just about vampires. It's not just about werewolf. They're all in here. All of them. Okay. And I actually really loved it because of that. But the second book was just not good for me. I did not care for it. So we shall see how the third book does. Only reason that I'm reading the third book and continuing at all is because I had already bought it, which is, it is what it is, you know? So, but whether I continue or not will depend on the third book and how that goes. Okay, next one is Mate by Ali Hazelwood. And so this is technically not a series, but this is the second book in the world that was introduced in Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And so I put it on the list for that reason. Okay, and I really do want to read it, very much want to read it, because I absolutely loved Bride. Like, loved it. 5-star read for me. So it's like, yeah, just, and I liked the like who these characters were introduced in that book. So it's kind of like, you know, romance novels and where it goes from couple to couple. And that's more or less what this is. And just, yeah, really want to read this one. So that's why it's on the list. It is not technically a series. So I'm cheating a little bit with that one. But it's going to get read. Okay. So the next one is The Tapestry of Fate. And this is the second book in the Amina al-Sarafi adventures. So the first book was The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, which I loved it so much. I read it at the beginning of last year, and it is about a female Persian pirate. And she comes out of retirement. She's a mom, and she ends up on the high seas. And then as a result of that first book, you pretty much knew there was going to be another book was going to come in. So that's this one. I don't know if there's going to be, if there's going to be more than just this one. I have no idea if it ends here or if she's going to continue to another one in this series. No clue. So we shall see, but I'm very excited to read it because I absolutely loved the first book. Loved the characters in the book. I think the story was fun and just fun, you know, and gripping and whatever, but the characters, such rich and deep characters. And that was what I really loved about that book. Okay, so the next one is The Girl Who Played with Fire by Stieg Larsson. And this is the second book in in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series. So Elizabeth Salander. It says there's 8 books, but I believe he only wrote the first 3, and then his son wrote the ones after because he passed away. So the first book was a reread for me, and I read it last year. It was really good. Again, I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first time I read it. So now I'm very excited to move on and read the next one in the series. I only have the first 3, and then we'll see how it goes from there. And if I like and I want to continue on, then I may very well continue on to the next batch in the series. Next one is The Hemlock Queen, which is the second book in the Nightshade Crown. First one was Foxglove King. And that one, I can't remember what I gave it, 3.5, 4 stars. So I did enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to reading this one and continuing on. I actually think that, again, this was another one where I really liked the main characters quite a lot. I liked the magic system in it, from, everything that I can remember about it. And I liked the fact that there was no clear romance in the book. There was just a hint of it. So you have no idea where it's going to go from there. Okay. But it's going to involve these 3 characters, which is the one girl and the 2 men involved. So we shall see. And there are dynamics at play there as well. So can't wait to continue on with that one. Next one is one that I have been kind of holding off on reading. And I've been kind of glad that it hasn't come up on the wheel because I was waiting to see when the next one was going to get announced. And that is Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole, which is the 3rd book in the Kindred's Curse saga. Now, the fourth book was just announced. Okay. And I think it's coming in the fall. So now it's like, okay, I feel like now I can jump into this one because I loved the first book was good. Second book, like loved the second book. So I don't want to go into the third book, love it like I did the second book, and then I didn't have the fourth book, wasn't going to come out and be ready for me to read. So that was how come I kind of held off on it. And like it hasn't come up on the wheel. Or no, I don't think I put it on right away. I think I had kept it off initially. And now it's going to go on because now that fourth book has been announced. So, which is Burn of the Flame is the new one that's coming out. So I can't wait to get back into this. So this is another one where you have a girl and she is, well, I don't really want to give it away because that gives away the second one, but it plays with gods and humans and how they interact together. And I love the uniqueness and the different feel of this system. And yeah, and the characters are fantastic too. So loved it. The only thing I think that really kind of bothered me with this one was I didn't really care for the name of the main female character. It's Diem, and it was like such a lackluster name. Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest. That's the only thing that I didn't care for about the series, but the series itself is really good. Okay, next one is The Throne of the Broken Gods, which is the second book in the Gods and Monsters series. I'm not sure how many books there's going to be in total. Somebody said, again, 7. There's 5 out. And the first book was, I can't even think of it. What was the first book again? The Book of Azrael, right? That was the first book. And the other thing is now they're all coming out, at least the first 3, from what I can see, in special editions, which are beautiful. And I've noticed that Book Outlet had the special edition of the Book of Azrael. It was on Book Outlet. So, but I really enjoyed the first book. Again, it's gods and monsters, and the main female character is definitely morally gray. And I liked that. And she is a bit of a monster, you would consider her to be. So I liked the way she was written. Loved that. Can't wait to continue on with that series. It's going to be a lot of fun, for sure. Okay, next on the list is The Butcher's Masquerade, which is the 5th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I don't even know if I even have to go into a huge explanation on Dungeon Crawler Carl, but suffice to say that we've got Carl and Princess Donut, who's a talking cat, and they're going through playing this dungeon game that they have no choice but to play because aliens have taken over the world. So that's kind of the gist of it. Oh, such a good series. And the 5th book is the 6th floor, which is a questionable floor. Okay? Because like the 3rd floor, the 6th floor, the 9th floor, they're like key floors. Okay? And we're coming on to the 6th floor. I can't wait to read this. It's gonna be so good. It's called The 6th Floor of the Hunting Grounds. I mean, you pretty much through the whole thing, they've been haunted in one way or another. But it's just the dynamics have changed quite a bit as you've gone through this whole thing. It's just been so good. Oh my God. Love it so much. Okay, next one is Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. This is the 2nd book in the Beartown series. There's 3 books in total. 3rd book is The Winners. And now Us Against You has been pulled from my June TBR because I've already pulled that when I'm filming this. And so I think that it's going to get read. It's a very tough read, very emotional. The first book, yeah, just loved it. Loved it. So can't wait to continue on with the series and read all three. I do have another Frederick Bachman book floating around here somewhere too. I think Friends, I think was the other one I have of his. Okay, so next one is Flesh and Bones by Kathy Reichs, which is the 14th book in the Temperance Brennan series. There are 24. So I'm more than halfway there at this point, and Flesh and Bones has also been pulled for my June TBR, and I cannot wait to read it. I'm very excited. It's going to be a fantastic read, and yeah, so super excited for this one. It's the Temperance Brennan series. So Temperance Brennan is a forensic anthropologist. So every book is a separate case, and she swings between Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and Charlotte, North Carolina. So she swings between the two, and depending on each book, is based there. But even sometimes somewhere different, like the last book that I read, Spider Bones, I think it was the 13th book. She was in Hawaii. Like it started in Montreal and then they ended up in Hawaii. So each one's a little bit different. And this next one is based in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, and pulled it for June. So it's going to get read in June. Next one is Nemesis Games, which is the 5th book in the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. And this is another one that it's a space opera type. It's got war in space you're dealing with. You're dealing with just people with lots of power and constant political struggles. And it follows kind of this one guy and his team and their ship and how they're sort of involved in all of this. And it's been so good. It's like a 5-star series, 5-tier, 5-star series. That one and Dungeon Crawler Carl are the two standout series for me. And they're both on book 5. So it's Dan. Anyway, okay. So next one is Brimstone by Kelly Hart, which is the 2nd book in the Fae and Alchemy series. First one was Quicksilver, which I quite liked. Quicksilver. Don't think it was a 5-star read, but it was 4.5. So I did really like that one. And I do have Brimstone. I don't know. It says 2 of 3. I don't know if it's only going to be 3 books, but we shall see on that one. I don't think there is a date for the 3rd book yet, is there? Oh yeah, November. So November of this year, the 3rd book is going to be coming out, but there is no title and there's no cover. There's just a release date. That's it. But all 3 books have kind of come out at the same time. So not surprising. Next one is Hellbent, which is the 2nd book in the 9th House series. So the 1st book, I read it. When did I read 9th House? And I think it was the beginning of last year. And I quite enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not one for school and academy settings. But the main character didn't actually go to the school. She just had to work around the school. I don't know if that makes sense, but that was kind of how the whole book was structured. And I actually really liked that. So Hellbent is kind of, because it does kind of end a little bit on a cliffhanger. So it's like you kind of resolve what was happening in book 1, but you still have a problem that they have to address going into book 2. And that's where that is. But it says there's going to be 4 books, and there is book 3 is scheduled. It's called Deadbeat, and it's scheduled to come out on September 15th. So, and it looks like it's continuing it on, not separate. It's the same main character, Alex. She's the same character. So we shall see where it goes from there. But yeah, looking forward to reading that one. Okay, next one is This Brutal Moon, which actually will end the Kingdom trilogy. So there's 3 books. The first one was These Burning Stars, and the second book was On Vicious Worlds, and I've read both of those. The second book I just read just a month or 2 ago. The second book was 5-star, 6 stars. It was so good, so good. First book was like a 3.5 for me because I found the first half of the first book a little on the slower side. So the second half was where it really picked up for me. And then it continued into that second book. So that's why I enjoyed the second book so much more than the first book. And of course, your characters are all established. You don't have to go through character development or anything like that because they're all there. So yeah, like, gosh, totally loved that one. Okay, so that's kind of like the first half of it. So now I'm going to take a little bit of break because I have to prep everything here for you guys to see. And then I'm going to come back with the second half of what's on this wheel. Okay, here we are. So we're going to get started again with the rest of these books. I think there's a total of 18 that we need to cover. So don't want to dilly-daddle because it's going to be a long video as it is. Okay, Road Trip with a Vampire. So this is the 3rd book in the My Vampires series, and each book has been an individual couple. So this is, again, completely different couple. First one I read last year. The second one I just finished reading, which was My Vampire Plus One, and I loved it. I mean, I liked the first book, but I really loved the second book a lot. So I'm looking forward to it. These are romances with, obviously, paranormal, vampire type things. In the first 2 books, the female protagonist, female main character, was human. I think in this one, she's a witch. So anyway, I can't wait to read it. They're fun. They're rom-coms. Okay, so they're not like serious contemporary romances. These are like they're funny. The first 2 were funny. Second one's even more funny than the first one. So, okay, next one is Mortal Homes, Maps, and Murder, which is book 5 in the Camper and Criminals Cozy Mystery series. This is a ginormous series. There are 45 books, and this is only book 5. Okay. It's a story about this woman, Mae West, and she ends up owning this campground. It's the only thing she has left after her ex-husband was caught embezzling and all this stuff like that, and basically left her with nothing. So she refurbished this whole campground, and she's been running it, and that's where the story took off. And it's just been, every book is, of course, a different murder. And it takes place in a town called Normal, Kentucky, which I think is hilarious because it's called Normal, Kentucky, but there's a murder every time there's a book. But it is just so good. I really love it and love all of the characters in the book. And they're very short, 150 pages, done. So yeah, so that one's next on the list. And then we have another cozy mystery. This one is paranormal, okay? And it is the second book in the Nightmare, Arizona paranormal cozy mysteries called Drowning at the Diner by Beth Dogner. And the first one was it Murder? Homicide at the Haunted House was the first one. And it was so good. I just really loved it. So it's about this woman, and she's driving across the U.S. to get to San Diego, I think, to go live with her brother. Can't remember if it's because she had a divorce or something like that, and she's left with nothing, and her car breaks down outside of this town called Nightmare, Arizona. Yeah, it just kind of goes from there. The little tagline on this says, "Death, danger, and dirty dishes in Nightmare, Arizona." So, drowning at the diner. Yeah, and it has all kinds of paranormal subjects in it, but how she works them into the story. Yeah, pretty incredible. I love it. So it's a really good one. Okay, next one is Mayhem in Christmas River, which is the second book in the Christmas Cozy Mystery series. Now, the reason that it's in here is because the place is called Christmas River. So this book, which is the second book in the series, takes place in July. That's why I put it on here now, because I do want to read it now, because then the third book takes place at Christmas, which I want to read at Christmas. So it kind of jumps. I think she goes like, one is Christmas, one is in the middle of summer, one's in Christmas, one like that kind of thing with them. So and they are written by a lady by the name of Meg Muldoon, and they're just really great. The main character, her name is Cinnamon Peters, and she owns a pie shop. Like, come on. Yeah, so good. Anyways, so that's this one, and it says it's July in Christmas River, and the temperature isn't the only thing flaring out of control. So this is such a good cozy series, and again, you know, pretty short. I think the book's around 250 pages. Yeah, it's just a pretty quick read. Next one is Delicate Escape, which is the second book in the Sparrow Falls series by Catherine Cowles. The first book was Fragile Sanctuary. Loved it. It is a small town romantic suspense, which, if you ask me what my favorite romance is, it is romantic suspense, okay? Like, I have one romantic suspense author that I think I have all her books, and that is Brittany Sahin. So, and love her. But I'm pretty much almost caught up with her. Now, she just started a new series, and I have the first two, and a third one I think is coming out in September, and I haven't read it yet. And it's because I don't want to read it because I love her books so much. So it's like, I don't want to read them too fast, you know? Yeah. So anyway, so I found her, Catherine Cowles, and positively loved Fragile Sanctuary, and the romantic suspense aspect of it was really good, and the characters were really good, and I loved the side characters, which were, it's like a found family foster type environment, and that's where all of the main characters come from in this. And it's a 6-book series, so can't wait to read this second book. It's going to be fantastic, I'm sure. And each book is an individual couple. So I just wanted to make sure I stated that. Then I have the Murderbot Diaries Volume 1. However, I have already read it. So technically each volume is 2 books, okay? And the first one is All Systems Red, and then the second one is Artificial Condition. I have already read All Systems Red. I read that on my Kindle last year. So I now have the physical copy of all of the volumes that are multiples in the volumes. There's 3 of them, and I have those. So I want to read those, but I have to read this first one because I have to read the second story in it, which is Artificial Condition. So technically I've already read one, but that's why it says Murderbot Diaries Volume 1. Okay? So I'm really not cheating. It's just that that's how I've purchased them in hard copy, in print. Okay? So, okay, next one is Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. That is the second book in the 4-book series Stalking Jack the Ripper. And I read the first one at some point last year and really enjoyed it. So can't wait to read this one. I've heard this one is actually the best one in the series. So, and how much I enjoyed the first one. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And you know, it's Hunting Prince Dracula. Like, come on. Can't get any better than that, right? Yeah. Like, to me, that's just, like, that's a no-brainer, you know? And this takes place in the time of Jack the Ripper from the first book, okay? Like it's actually during the case's unfolding of Jack the Ripper in the first book. So when you get, so you know that that's the, like it's Victorian time, and that's what you're dealing with. So love it, love it. Okay, next one I have on the wheel is Shift, which is the second book in the Silo series. Okay, and there's 3 books in total. I read the first book last year, I think it was last year, and very much enjoyed that. It is kind of sci-fi dystopian. We can't live on the planet anymore, so there are these huge silos built into the ground, and that's where people live. And it is like, when I say, it's like taking a huge skyscraper and putting it into the ground, kind of like that idea. So that's sort of how I see it. But anyways, and they're called silo. It's called a silo. So I think this part is the part that describes how they ended up like that, which I think is important, because you don't get a lot of that background in the first book. You kind of get a little bit of it, but you don't get a lot of it. You don't understand why they're in the situation that they're in. So I think this second book deals with that. Next one on the wheel is Of Darkness and Light, which is the second book in the Bound and the Broken series by Ryan Cahill. Like, it is a epic fantasy series, okay? The first book, which was Of Blood and Fire, that was the first book. And then there is a mini novella called The Fall. So I've read those 2 and absolutely enjoyed them. The novella is spectacularly good. Like, just so good. Now, some people say don't read the novella before you read the first book. Read it after. I preferred the fact that I read it before the first book, because I think I would have been a little bit lost with some of the incidences of why things were happening in the first book. So that was just me. I preferred it that way, and I loved it doing it that way. So that's why I read it. And now Broken Binding has come out with special editions of these, and they're available in the stores, hardcover. And Of Darkness and Light is the next one that's going to be available in special edition. I think The Fall, though, is actually the first one. Of Blood and Fire, I'm screwing this up completely, which is typical for me. Of Blood and Fire has already come out in special edition. The Fall is next, and then Of Darkness and Light, which is the one that I have on the list. But I have the paperback, the plain paperback copies of it. So, and as things stand right now, there are 4 main books, and then there are novellas in between, but you can actually read all of the novellas on Kindle Unlimited, which is what I have done with the I think I've read 2 other novellas after I read book 1. So, okay, enough of that one. Okay, so Heavenly Tyrant, which is book 2 in the Iron Widow series. So I read book 1 last year, positively loved it. Fantastic book. So I can't wait to read this one. And this is just continuing on the story. So this is like sci-fi and feudal China. And you take those and you mold them in together. And they are in fighting machines that use the people that power them, which are actually children. They're young. They're like 18, 19, 20. And it's actually a little on the brutal side, if I'm being perfectly honest on how this is all done. And it's like male, female, and the male feeds from the female, and a lot of times she dies. So it's a power struggle. It's very political. And I loved the first book. So I now have the second book. Can't wait to read it. Next one is What Stalks the Deep by T. Kingfisher. And this is book 3 of the Sworn Soldier series. So I read the first 2, which was Feasts at Night and What Moves the Dead. So those were first two. I can't remember which one comes first, but I read those. And so What Stalks the Deep is the next one. And each one is a different story, but with the same character, same main character. So it's kind of almost like a police procedural kind of idea, but it's in Victorian England, although this particular one brings Alex Easton, who is our main character, to America, okay? And that is to help Dr. Denton, who appeared in the first book. So that's where this one comes in. And each of the books are really short. They're not super long books. Less than 200 pages. Okay, next one is Garnet Flats, which is the third book in the Edens series by Devney Perry. So this is, again, a romantic suspense series. Now, this one is on the list because Juniper Hill has been pulled for my May TBR, okay, which I'm in May right now, and it's going to get read. I've already mapped that one out, as I had previously mentioned with one of the other ones. So this one is going to definitely get read, okay? And so it's Juniper Hill, and then Garnet Flats is the next one. So I've already put it on the list, which I think the romantic suspense, I love that, okay? And then similarly for the next one, which is Caught Up, which is the third book in the Windy City series by Liz Tomforty. This is the previous to that is Right Move, The Right Move, and The Right Move is on my May TBR as well. Okay, so it's in there with Juniper Hill. Those are two romances that are going to get read. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that because the next ones in the series have gone on the list. And these now, this one, the Windy City series, is contemporary romance, sports romance. Okay, first one was first one was hockey. Second one, The Right Move, is basketball. And this third one looks like baseball. So it's not the same sport, but each couple kind of, they relate to each other in one way or another. So yeah, so can't wait to read those and get that series done, which would be fantastic. Okay, next one is Rights of the Starling, which is the second book in the Shield of Sparrows series by Devney Perry, another Devney Perry, only this one is fantasy romance. And the first book, Shield of Sparrows, was 5-star read for me. Absolutely loved it. It is all about monsters and politics. Okay, and this poor girl that is kind of caught in the middle of all of it. And I loved it. So very much looking forward to reading the second book and seeing where it goes from there. I have seen some basic reviews where they said it went in a direction they didn't expect it to go in. So now I'm intrigued. Yeah, and really want to read that. Okay, next one in the series is Insurgent, which is the second book in the Divergent series. And there's 3 books in total. And I just, I had never read them. I read Divergent last year, enjoyed it. So obviously want to get on to the second book. So that's why it's on here. And next one is Indelible, which is the 4th book in the Grant County series. And I literally just finished the 3rd book. It's in the Karen Slaughter video that went up just a few videos ago. So it was the first book I read in the video was Faint Cold Fear. And that was the 3rd book in this series. So I've put the 4th book on, and that is Indelible. And it is, I guess, what you would call police procedural. Same characters. Sarah Linton, she's the coroner, and her ex-husband, Jeffrey Tolliver, is the chief of police. So they're kind of your 2 mains, centers around them, and then it's a different case in each book. So I love Karen Slaughter's writing, and so far I've really enjoyed the series, so I can't wait to move on to this one. Okay, next one is Stolen Heir, which is the second book in the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. It is a mafia romance series, but they're not long. They're like short books. And the first book, it kind of made me laugh a little bit, okay? But I really loved the main female character. She was fantastic. And so this, I think, deals with the daughter of the one family. So there's like two families. One is Irish mafia, one's Italian mafia. So that's what we're dealing with. We start from there. And I enjoyed the first book. It wasn't like a 5-star read for me or anything like that, but it was a good romance read. And the last book is The Rebel and the Rose, which is the second book in the City of Phantom series by Catherine Doyle. The first book was The Dagger and the Flame, which I enjoyed very much, and I got it off Book Outlet, and I got the second one. I think they're right here. Yeah, there it is right there. So I also got the second one. I don't know if it's just the two books. I have no idea at this point. It doesn't say on Amazon if there's more than two books. So, and it is there's magic involved, and there's these two factions in this city, and there's like going to be a war between them. And this one girl, her mother was involved, and somebody at the beginning of the first book killed her mother. So that's where it all kind of jumped off from there. And loved the first book. Quite enjoyed it. Even though technically I'd say it's YA, but I still enjoyed the story very much. And there is no romance in the book. So if you're looking for fantasy romance, I would call it a fantasy, absolutely 100%, but there's no romance. There is a suggestion of attraction between the two main characters, but that's it. But there's no actual romance, okay? So I think people need to have realistic expectations when they're going into some of these fantasy books, because some of them says fantasy romance, and it's like, there's not really a romance. There is the suggestion of what's maybe perhaps going to happen between these two people, but this gives new meaning to potential slow burn. So anyway, but I loved it. And maybe I liked it for that reason, because it is my YA, right? So could be, but that's the last book on the wheel. So would love to hear if any of you are reading any of these series. I don't want to hear any spoilers, so don't give me any spoilers, okay, about any of them, because, love it. And if you have any questions for me about any of these, because you want to know more, feel free to ask. I'll tell you whatever I can that isn't a spoiler. When I'm doing this sort of thing, and when I'm talking about stuff, and in my comments, I like to keep it spoiler free. So, okay, so that's it for this video, and I think that will be all for now. I think my next video is just going to be like a little bit of fun in my next video. Got something planned, so be sure to stick around for that too when it comes up, which will be right after this one, Okay, thanks for visiting, and would love it if you could like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.